There has been a confirmed case of foot and mouth disease at the world's largest cattle feedlot, Karan Beef, Heidelberg in Gauteng. And this is not just a farm, an ordinary farm. It's a very, very highly acknowledged facility globally, known for, well, can it still be called gold standard biosecurity? It supplies premium beef to retailers and restaurants and butchers across the country. Author and agricultural economist and analyst Wandile Sihlobo joins us from Pretoria. Wandile, good afternoon. What is the sort of properly measured way to respond to this news?
I would first, John, go against something that you have said just now and say Karan Beef is still one of the best quality, well-managed facilities, the biggest of its kind in the Southern Hemisphere or Southern Africa, Southern Africa. What the disease that we are seeing, it's not across that farm and not across South Africa, but in a few farms. But the standard practice is that when there is an outbreak of any disease in the livestock industry, the country temporarily closes its borders so that it clears that out, because the idea is to be a country that is free of any diseases. But I will be quick again, John, to confirm that this is not a disease that is harmful to people or even kill animals. It doesn't. After a particular few days, they clear up. You can think of it as a sort of a flu in cattle, if one can use that loosely. After a particular period, they clear up. But while they're still affected, you have to continuously feed them, think about the vaccines, and all of that adds to the cost. But generally, we're still in that recovery path.
So not something to get too excited about.
Not something to get too excited about. And I would also say, and I've seen in the newspapers others warning that there may be higher prices of meat and all of those things. And I would even go further there, John, to say it's actually the opposite, because we are a country which is a net exporter in red meat. And when you have an outbreak and your borders are temporarily closed, it does mean then that if your continuous slaughtering happens in a usual pace, then you have a slight increase in the volume of beef that is available. And in the past, whenever we have these diseases, we would see beef prices coming under pressure, not increasing, because of that improved supply for the domestic consumer, which means then the farmer bears the cost while the consumer in the near term may benefit on the price gains.
We have other parts of the world where produce competes. Produce from those home destinations competes with produce that might be imported from South Africa, and they're very protective. So a single black spot on a single orange coming out of South Africa is deemed good reason to put the citrus industry under complete and total pressure. I'm exaggerating, of course, but I do wonder whether taking what you've said, whether it doesn't damage the reputation, the good feeling about the industry in a way that is potentially problematic for sales across borders.
The different thing about this one, John, is that all of us across the world are affected by the diseases. I mean, a few months ago, you and I talked about the issue of a bird flu in America, where bird flu transitioned from chicken to dairy cattle and to people in the U.S., and the same thing happened in the U.K., and we see some cases of these diseases in the EU. In China, we saw African swine fever. All I'm trying to say is that the animal disease is a global challenge that needs to be addressed and looked at. But in as far as the reputation and the quality of product, of course, temporarily they get affected. Where we are in a slightly better position here, John, is that in the citrus industry, you rely 80% of your volume, for example, goes to export markets, while on beef, it's the opposite. So you still do have the domestic side. But the challenge of the domestic market is also the fact that many households in South Africa are under pressure, and beef is still a prime product, not as mainly available as what we see on a poultry. So that does indeed weigh on the profitability of the farming sector.
Thank you very much, Wandile Sihlobo, author and agricultural economist and analyst.